Hello, I'm Sammy and I'm a strategist here at Swanky. Today I'm joined by Fiona, the head of marketing at LoyaltyLion, to discuss building loyalty in new markets as part of our series on internationalisation. So thank you, Fiona, for joining me today. Would you mind giving us a quick intro to yourself and your role at LoyaltyLion?
Of course, yeah, and thank you very much, Swanky, for having me here today. So I'm Fiona Stevens, I'm head of marketing at LoyaltyLion. We are a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform powering growth for e-commerce merchants around the world. And my background, I've been in marketing and e-commerce for quite a long time, but been specialised in loyalty for around 7 years now.
Cool. So I guess, kick off straight away. So what do you think is the value of building loyalty in a new market, and why should brands care?
I think it can be really hard to start the process of actually acquiring customers in new markets. You know, you're learning lots of new things about which messages resonate, you're learning about which channels work, where your customers actually are, and every market looks a little bit different as well. So if you're working that hard to get customers, you really want to make sure that it's worth your while and that you get the maximum value from them over time, rather than having to go off and start acquiring from scratch all over again. So retention and loyalty in a new market is actually quite critical. It's the most cost-effective way of growing your revenue in a new area that's not necessarily just to keep on growing your customer base, but to make sure that the customers that you have acquired successfully are coming back, they're repeat purchasing, and ultimately increasing their customer lifetime value. I think as well, as you enter into a new market, you're trying to build a reputation where you don't already have one, and your loyal customers can play a huge part in helping you achieve that. So if you build loyalty in a new market, you have the opportunity to build up a base of advocates who will tell others about you, whether that's via reviews, user-generated content, social media interactions, or actually by referring their friends or family members. You know, that advocacy, can be a real game changer in a market where you're relatively unknown.
So it's interesting, you've spoken a little bit there about the research that you have to do when moving into a new market. What do you think is particularly important when brands consider moving into a new market about the loyalty program implementation? What should they consider?
I think really you should treat it as the same as any other marketing activity. You know, you need to get under the skin of your customers. You need to get to know them, understand what will resonate with them, and follow that through into your loyalty program plans. So it would be dangerous to assume that the same kinds of earning and redemption opportunities and rewards would resonate in every market. I think you need to do that research that you would with any other marketing channel and get to know your customers, get to know the market. Ask them, if you were to have a rule around charitable donations, for example, what causes would matter to them. Find out what social channels they're most active on and make sure you have rewards set up for those. And these are things that might be very different in each market. So you need to really find out what's important to each territory and then design your loyalty program rules and rewards in each space to match. I think in a similar vein, you need to make sure you're thinking about your wider marketing strategy in that market and using your loyalty program effectively for each scenario. So, for example, if you're launching in Ireland, perhaps you want to run a double points campaign around St. Patrick's Day. If you're launching in Melbourne, perhaps you want to offer programs, early access to a sale to celebrate the Australian Open, so on and so forth. You want to make sure whatever marketing strategy you're operating locally, your loyalty program is being used to accelerate that. And I think, your marketing strategy in a new market should take all the local events into account. So you're really starting to use it as a tool to support your wider brand activity in that market, not as a standalone technique.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you speak about being local, but obviously there's also a huge importance on maintaining that kind of global presence and the global kind of scale as well. So is there a particular trade-off you think that brands need to, so having that brand consistency on a global scale whilst also tailoring loyalty programs to the local traditions and attitudes?
I think that's an amazing question. It takes me back to when I was working in a content marketing agency, and one of the best examples we used of localized content was actually Haribo, the sweet company. So I don't know if you know the Haribo jingle, kids and grown-ups love it, so the happy world of Haribo. The music is the same in every single country, but the translation, if you translated the jingle in every country, it would actually have a different message. So although it fits into exactly the same, they've done a brilliant global brand. If you hear the tune, you know it's Haribo, but every market has its own individual message. And I think there's a really big lesson to learn there. So there are some things that should remain consistent globally. Your brand identity, your brand story, who you are as people and what you stand for, why you set up your store in the first place. All of that has to be really the backbone of your brand wherever you are. And your loyalty programs are a really key vehicle for communicating these things and helping customers to build relationships with you. But there are lots of other things that you can tailor to make sure that it's really resonating in a local market. So we've already mentioned changing your reward rules to match the behaviors in the market. But even before that, there are some localization things you need to consider. So first and most obvious is language. You're likely translating your site, you're likely translating all your comms. So don't forget to do your loyalty program page or your loyalty emails as well. Your loyalty messages are just as important as your other marketing messages. So if you're looking to retain customers, they need to resonate. They need to be translated as well. I think the other thing to think about really locally is obviously currency. Customers in your market are more likely to engage with their own currency. That's why Shopify has set up multi-currency, things like that. So making sure that your rewards make sense in that currency is really important. For example, in the US, you might say that 500 points equals $5. If you just literally pick that up and move it to somewhere else, like say South Africa, you end up with 500 points equals £5, and that's the equivalent of something like 0.5 US dollars. Suddenly, there's not really much of an incentive to actually engage with that loyalty program. So I think language, currency are the two sort of obvious logistical things that should be really local. But then there's also the vehicles that you're using to promote your loyalty program and encourage people to join. So if one market is particularly susceptible to SMS, use that channel to share reward available reminders or points balances. Another market might respond better to email. So make sure you're using that tool there to share loyalty messages. So I think, long story short, brand consistency is really important, no matter how many markets you start to operate in, but you should definitely pay attention to localizing the vehicles and the operations of your loyalty program.
Great. So I think you touched on it a little bit there, but obviously there's lots of opportunities for loyalty programs to support other elements of your marketing strategy. How do you think you can use your loyalty program to help your marketing strategy thrive?
I love this question. It's something I could talk about all day. For me, I really believe that your loyalty program can power your other marketing tools and technologies. I think too many people set up a program and just leave it to run in the background thinking that it will work by itself, or they see it as an extra thing on the to-do list that you never quite get around to, but the impact it can have on the rest of your marketing is huge. So first of all, customers want personalized experiences. They want brands to show that they know them, and you can really do that with a loyalty program. You could be using loyalty emails that are completely personalized with their own points balance, letting them know that they have a reward available or that they're this close to making it into their next tier. Nobody else can have that email. That's a totally personalized message. So I think it ties into the personalization piece really strongly. And loyalty data can be worked into so many other places as well. So if you're looking to improve your social media impact, make sure you're using your program to incentivize likes and shares and follows. If you need to improve your review strategy, you could be incentivizing loyal customers to share their reviews. If you're looking to ramp up your customer service and do a better job of servicing your customers, then you can integrate your loyalty data into your support desk so that people can see loyalty profiles and use points to sweeten slightly sour situations and things like that. I could go on about this for hours, to be honest, but essentially, I think the loyalty data can really add power to pretty much any customer conversation that you're having in any context. But more than that, I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's a really good vehicle to communicate your brand and to tell your story. Loyalty is about customer relationships, and you can use your program to let customers know exactly what it is that you care about as a brand, and to make sure that that aligns with their own values and that you're telling them that.
Great. So I guess, just wrapping up, where do you see global loyalty programs heading in the future? I guess, what are you most excited about seeing development-wise?
It's a good question, and I think it's something that a lot of people are discussing at the moment. Has recent events been the death of loyalty because, not everybody could actually fulfill my order. So the brand I was previously loyal to, I had to go somewhere else during the pandemic because they didn't have what I was looking for, or they'd run out and things like that. So I think it's certainly fair to say that loyalty might have been tested over the past few months, but actually at LoyaltyLion, with our data, we've seen the exact opposite. Loyalty is becoming more and more important. You know, people actually have wanted to shop with brands that they know and trust. In a very unsettled time, you want to be able to, you know, rely on things that you've already built relationships with. And we've also seen the number of points being earned and the points being redeemed increasing all the time. So people are definitely engaging with loyalty programs still. I think in terms of where they're headed in the future, for me, it's becoming more and more about communities. So it's not just points and rewards. It's not just discounts. It's about connecting with like-minded brands and like-minded people that shop with those brands. I think if we look at someone like Sephora, they were just a beauty and makeup seller like any other brand, but they've created an online community that has, I think, over 4.5 million members last time I looked. They've created a space where customers can get to know the brand. They can find lots of social proof to build up that trust. They can connect with people who care about the same things. And I think we'll see far more of that in future. And it's going to be really interesting to see program members from around the world connecting over a brand that they love in one online location. And I think the other trend that I see only increasing is the use of just really great experiential rewards. So as I said, it's about more than points and prizes. And you can really help customers feel like they're getting an in-store experience while they're shopping online with your program. So, you know, customers want to be made to feel special. They want to feel like they're getting VIP exclusive experiences. And there are some brands who made this transition really well during the pandemic. So we work with an underwear brand called Lively, and they started to offer program members virtual styling sessions during the pandemic, and it gave them a really nice way of staying in touch with members between purchases, but also making them feel valued. They were getting a perk that not everybody could access. I think there's a big opportunity in the coming 12 months for brands who are operating online in multiple markets to use these kinds of experiences that can be managed from anywhere but delivered really locally.
Great, yeah, an exciting couple of months ahead, I guess. So yeah, thank you, Fiona, really for your time and for joining me today, and just for everyone to find out more about our internationalization, download our ebook, The Complete Guide to Internationalization.